Hello and welcome to the Alula webinar. Today we are talking about from BAT-LTE to BAT-Connect, moving to the next gen communicator. My name is Kevin Hoffman and I'll be your host. Right off the bat, I just want to apologize to a few of our listeners. Originally this was scheduled for last week. Unfortunately, I had a death in the family that required me to attend a funeral, and that's why we weren't able to do it at the time that we originally advertised. So we're doing it now. And I will promise to make it up to you in 2020. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get to our agenda. So in this webinar, we're going to be first, I'll introduce you to our presenter. We'll then talk about Alula. We'll walk you through why BAT-LTE was so popular. Then we'll look at the new BAT-Connect, how it matches up. We'll also talk about the new features that it brings to the table. We'll do a deep dive on the Slimline Touchpad because that is just such an amazing part of BAT-Connect and such a difference maker. Then we'll look at a comparison chart of BAT-LTE to BAT-Connect so you can see exactly how they compare. And then, of course, we'll save plenty of time at the end for your questions and answers. So getting started, let's meet our presenter. His name is Dave Main. He is our VP of Product Management at Alula. He has more than 20 years of experience in the wireless device networking business. He worked at Digi International, GE Security Interlogics, Gibson Guitars, and Itron. He's launched 3 interactive service offerings through partnerships with Alarm.com, iControl, and Home Assurance, and served as the general manager of the Interactive Services Division of GE Security. He also happens to hold 3 patents, unless he's gotten a new one in the months since last we spoke. Dave, are you still at 3 patents?
3 or 4, I'm not sure, but we're innovative here, so I get dragged along with all the great engineers, sometimes with ideas, and I benefit from it. So. Appreciate the recognition on that.
Well, just let us know when you get that 4th patent. I'll be sure to update this slide accordingly. Dave, if you could, why don't you tell us a little bit about Alula?
Happy to do that, Kevin. And again, sorry about your loss, and I'm glad we're able to kind of circle back on this. But Alula, if you haven't been participating, it might be a new brand to you. We are a company that has a long history in the security industry, specifically with professional dealers. The brand itself was launched, coming up on, I think, 2 years ago. It's created through the acquisition of 2 companies, IP Datatel out of Houston and Resolution Products out of the Hudson, Wisconsin, originally, really now St. Paul, Minneapolis area. And our focus is really on delivering services and products that enable those services to professional dealers across North America. We are 100% focused on helping our partners capture recurring revenue and deliver a service offering that is compelling and engaging and keeps a high level of account retention for all of our partners across the country. And from a background, I myself came out of, as you mentioned earlier, Interlogics ITI. Many of the engineers have come out of the ITI and Interlogics organization. We have others who run dealerships, as well as managing a central station. So the expertise of the entire leadership team, many of the engineers, and a lot of the people involved in the company have either been serving or operating as dealers in this industry, and we've seen a lot of changes that have happened over time. Our focus is on delivering integrated security, video, and automation solutions, and you probably have seen, if you've been following us, a partnership even into the access control space. We do that through a cloud offering, our Alula platform, which services a variety of applications, a dealer management portal, and then has a published API that allows us to integrate with other systems, platforms, and capabilities to, again, bring new and engaging applications and services that our partners can bring to their customers. We've been historically focused mostly in the residential and high-end residential sector, and we are expanding now into the small to medium-sized business. We have about 3,500 partners and hundreds of thousands of accounts on our network, and we get those accounts not only by delivering our own security panel, but by delivering a series of communicators that connect other manufacturers' panels up to our interactive service offering. And that's going to be the focus of today's conversation, is really how we can not only make those panels connect, but how we can deliver a user experience that will increase your account retention rate, increase your RMR, and reduce your overall cost of ownership. And that's the focus that we have, and we build those capabilities out of listening to the business challenges of our partners, and then using our innovative and I find amazing engineering team to solve problems that other people in the industry have been unable to solve. So look forward to the conversation today.
Thanks, Dave. That's a great overview. And for those of you who would like to hear more about Alula and our brand, you can go to alula.com. We'll also be having a special webinar in January to introduce a lot of the cool new brand materials that we are coming out with in the market. But first, let's focus on today's business, which is about moving from BAT-LTE to the BAT-Connect. Dave, a lot of people know of Alula or its predecessor companies because of the BAT-LTE. It was a very popular communicator in the market. Maybe you could talk a little bit about why it was so successful.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. What this industry looks for is a product that's going to work every time they pull it out of the truck and at every stop that they have. And BAT-LTE fit the bill for that. It was compatible with the broadest range of panels in the marketplace. It has built-in tip and ring support, which allows it, if we don't have a bus connection, we can always connect up to the phone line. We can capture all the alarm signals off of that. We had an ability to control key switch for key switch arming, so you could actually remote arm. And it has high gain antennas that had cell coverage in even the hardest to reach locations. So really, Kevin, this came down to a product that you could put it on your truck if you're doing a takeover, if you're replacing a phone line, or if you've acquired a series of businesses and you have a whole hodgepodge of different panels that you need to service, and you need a product that you can put on that your techs are able to go in and install that's reliable, that's backed by a good warranty and a company that stands behind the products, and that provides reliable alarm transport over multiple paths of communication. BAT-LTE was the answer for you. So we gained a lot of traction and success, and I just wanted this whole webinar today is all about how we aren't going to sit still and just be comfortable with the success we've had and be comfortable with a product that goes out there. We were hearing from our customers that, okay, this is great, but I want to deliver new services. I want to have a different, better user experience. I want to be able to add more capabilities and more offerings to that platform. So we built a new version of our BAT communicator, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the presentation. And it gives you all of the things that you have in BAT-LTE, even the same terminal interface, but it delivers more power, more capabilities, and integrates more tightly with a broader range of panels over time, which is going to allow you to have a stronger business. So again, we had success. We have nothing but good feedback on this offering, and yet we've been able to improve on it, and hopefully you'll be able to adopt this and improve your business as a result.
Yeah, Dave, that's exactly right. It's all about building on that success. We all love the iPhone 1 or the iPhone 2 when they first came out, but no one's using those anymore. Now they're on the iPhone 11, and the reason is because they've continued to add features, continue to make it, to build upon that success, take what works and make it even better. And I know that when the two companies first came together, BAT-Connect was one of the first things that really emerged from that meeting of the minds. These great engineering teams got together, and this was one of the first big projects that they had on their plate. So take us through how the BAT-Connect came to be and how it kind of incorporated what BAT-LTE was doing.
Yeah, and I like how you introduced that because, these companies came together 2 years ago, and step one was just making the equipment that Resolution Products had designed and developed to integrate with the platform that the IP Datatel team had, and we spent some time optimizing the applications and really expanding the platform capabilities. And BAT-Connect represents the first product that the two engineering organizations worked on collaboratively to not really take advantage of the strengths of both organizations. So we're very excited about it. And if anybody who's familiar with BAT-LTE, You love the fact that it has Ethernet and cellular on it. One of the gaps that it has, and we heard it from many people, is I like the Ethernet. I like having dual path. Nobody else in the industry is really good at doing dual path communication. So many rely on just cellular only, but I want to have a Wi-Fi option. Well, BAT-Connect gives you that Wi-Fi option. So we lead with IP, as we always have. You have Ethernet, you have Wi-Fi, and you have cellular. 3 paths of communications. That in itself is powerful and is going to give you the ability not only to solve problems that you might face with sunset today, but it's going to ensure that you don't have to deal with a sunset again, because I don't see the internet shutting off anytime in our lifetime. In addition, we have universal bus compatibility. We work on Honeywell systems, DSC systems. We're NX from Interlogix. We're bringing Concord into the fold, NAPCO into the fold. So we will directly interface to all of those buses for full interactive control and security, and it uses the advanced features of our app that we built initially for our Connect Plus security system. So if you've attended one of our webinars and learned about Connect Plus, that's our own panel. We have full automation and interactive controls available for that. We have an award-winning application that integrates and creates a customizable dashboard for control of automation devices, video, and security. And now we're able to take that same app user experience and bring it to all the panels that we connect to on the bus that I just listed out. In addition to the bus connectivity, we have an expanded capability for remote programming. You can, the BAT-LTE gave a virtual keypad, so you could go in and actually program the panel. Typically, people program the panel to add users or to change zone names. We can now do that in our dealer portal, AlulaConnect. We've enhanced our dealer management portal, which used to be called Alarm Dealer. It's now AlulaConnect. It is a scalable interface that will work on a phone all the way up to a laptop or other computing devices, and it allows you to change users, to change zone names. We can still support the native downloaders on all the panels we support, but we've given more capabilities in that platform and exposed that all through our BAT-Connect offering. So multiple paths of communications, extended features in terms of the app user interface that we can expose, a better management portal for remote programming and configuration. And one thing that's not listed on here, at least I don't see that, is all of our systems, as they do with our panel, check in daily for firmware upgrades. So features are added all the time. People that have installed a BAT-Connect maybe 2-3 months ago after the initial launch are gaining new features and capabilities every week, every month, every quarter. As we invest, we bring those investments not only back on your new installs, but to anything that you've installed in the past. And that's a powerful new capability we brought to this platform, and that allows you to avoid truck rolls and to again, minimize your attrition rates by bringing new valuable services to your customers day in and day out.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And what this is really saying is that all of the things that BAT-LTE was able to do, BAT-Connect can do all of those things, but can do them better. Instead of 2 paths, it's got 3 paths of communication. It's got many more robust remote programming options. So if you're already using the BAT-LTE, if you love that product, well, you're going to love this one even more. It's got all of those same capabilities. But the great thing about BAT-Connect is it adds some really great bells and whistles that were just not possible on the BAT-LTE. Number one among those is this Slimline Touchpad. So, Dave, let's talk about ways in which BAT-Connect is superior to the BAT-LTE and adds all kinds of new benefits.
Yeah, great, Kevin. And a lot of this came down to, on the previous slide, I talked about the fact that we had cellular and Ethernet that we pulled from BAT-LTE. We added Wi-Fi. Now, everybody knows when you add Wi-Fi, you want to be able to join a network so that you can get out to the cloud and do all your alarm signaling and interactive controls over that broadband link. That's what Alula delivers. We lead with IP, we lead with broadband that's not going to go away, and we layer cellular on top of it as an alternative channel for communications. But when you have Wi-Fi on, you can use that Wi-Fi not only to get to a network, but you can create a network. So we establish our own Wi-Fi access point, and that allows us to add our Slimline Touchpad. We built this touchpad initially for our Connect Plus panel. We wanted to have a 7-inch touchscreen that could really provide a consistent user interface. The app that you see on the touchpad looks very similar, just a different orientation to the app that you'd get on your phone. That consistent user interface keeps your service calls down, your training down, and allows you to deliver the same experience inside the home as you get outside the home. And that's unique to Alula in the industry, and we wanted to bring that capability not only to our own panels, but to any panel that one of our Connect family of products talks to. So with BAT-Connect, the Wi-Fi that's on BAT-Connect will create a Wi-Fi network. These touchpads can join. You can wall mount these devices. You can table mount the devices. You can replace a keypad, or you can add them as a secondary user interface. In all cases, it gives you that same look and feel and allows you to take a system you might have installed 20 years ago, not only deal with the sunset radio that you have to go and visit, but now sell them a better user experience, add video cameras, and all of this will reduce your attrition rates and also create an opportunity to increase RMR. So there's a number of other features I talked to that are listed on this slide. A single SKU that will support multiple panel types. If it's not one of our bus-supported panels, you hook up tip and ring, you hook up key switch arming, you still get that same remote app experience, enhanced capabilities. In addition to all of that, we have the ability to add a home automation device. So if you want to bring Z-Wave devices and fold those into the mix, that can also be done on the BAT-Connect product. So very powerful. We're going to be highlighting these and potentially repeating these on a couple of slides, but we want to drive home the point that everything we're doing is about enabling you to bring new services and capture and maximize the RMR that you can collect, and we do that across our entire Connect family of products, BAT-Connect and Connect Plus.
Yeah, Dave, that's exactly right. One of the themes that you're seeing on this slide here is it's about making it easier and more convenient for our partners. That's why you only need one SKU on the truck. You don't have to have multiple SKUs for different panel types. We're going to reduce the cost of account creation and maintenance by enabling you to do remote panel programming and servicing. And as Dave mentioned, in many cases, we're just going to automatically update it with new firmware without you having to even press a button. And all of this is going to add to your RMR and ultimately make the account more sticky and increase your account retention. We are going to go deeper into the touchpad in a moment, but first I want to talk a little bit about sunsets, because one of the things that's going on right now is we're looking at the CDMA sunset, and so a lot of people are having to replace communicators, and they're having to make a choice of replacing that communicator with the BAT-LTE or with the BAT-Connect. And I think there's a very powerful case to be made that you really want to use the BAT-Connect in this instance rather than any other competing product, because what the BAT-Connect is going to do that they can't do is allow you to avoid the next cellular sunset. You don't want to keep making that same trip out to that customer over and over again. Dave, tell us how BAT-Connect is able to overcome these cellular sunsets.
Well, you'll see we have the first bullet of this slide talks about the crazy loop, and that is, I'm going to attribute that to one of the founders of the companies, Russell Vail, who was the founder of IP Datatel. Anybody who's been dealing with IP Datatel likely knows him and has heard the term crazy loop. Crazy loop is this cycle we get into of the cellular providers continue to enhance their cell networks. They do it to bring more data and more capabilities to smartphones that we're all carrying around in our pockets, to tablets, to even laptops. And the data and bandwidth is their focus. We want to bring Netflix down to as many devices as possible. Well, we're in an industry that doesn't use a lot of data. We're in an industry that deploys a lot of devices, and we want to have reliable service behind those. So every time that cell network changes, it forces all of us on this call to go out and visit every one of our customers and upgrade them to the latest technology. That's the crazy loop. The carriers are on a 6-year cycle of upgrading their networks every 6 years. Well, that forces us to go out and visit all these devices. And IP Datatel and Alula as a whole are really built around this concept of avoiding this crazy loop. And we do it by delivering multiple paths of connectivity. We lead with IP. Ethernet isn't going to go away. If you hook up the broadband connection and the cellular connection, you still might have to go change out the cellular radio, but you can call your customer and say, hey, they're changing the cell network, they're bringing more bandwidth, you're probably getting a new cell phone as a result. All that's great, but guess what? Your service is still going to work. We have a broadband connection in place. If you'd like a new cell radio, let us know and we can bring you some of the new capabilities. That's avoiding the crazy loop. BAT-Connect allows us to do that on 3 fronts. First off, we have the Ethernet available, we have the Wi-Fi available, and we're bringing cellular. The cellular we're using, though, is called Category M, or M1 as listed on the slide here, which operates on the LTE network that's deployed today, the 4G network, but it's also defined as the low bandwidth path in the 5G world. So we have a cellular technology included in BAT-Connect that works on the towers today. It actually has better range than an LTE radio. Because we're using less bandwidth, we can actually go further away from the tower and have successful range. So we've increased the range on that, and we're also defined in the 5G world. If 5G goes away, we have Ethernet and Wi-Fi, and these can be remotely managed over the cell link. So as they're changing out their routers, we can get those reconfigured without a truck roll. But we can carry communications and services all the way through 5G and beyond with the BAT-Connect product. Our goal is to ensure that you can keep recurring revenue coming as long as possible, your customers are protected as long as possible, and we can use technology that might not have the bandwidth for Netflix, but it has more than enough bandwidth for anything we happen to do in the security industry. That's what we designed this product to do. It's to keep the total cost of ownership low for you and to keep recurring revenue dollars coming into your pockets.
Thanks, Dave. And Dave, was just giving you an example of how you can make this palatable to your customers. I want to give you an example on the other end. This was a recent email that was forwarded to us by a friend, and they received this email from their security dealer. The security dealer writes, "Dear customer, the AT&T 2G and 3G Alarm.com radios are nearing the end of an era. AT&T and other providers will stop supporting 2G and 3G devices. All cell providers will stop supporting 2G and 3G radios in 6 to 12 months. If you're receiving this email, it means you have a 2G or 3G radio and it needs to be upgraded to a 4G radio. The 4G radio is $150 plus a $100 trip charge install fee. Any customers that reach out to have the module swapped out before February 2020, I will waive the trip charge. I encourage you to reach out to me saying you want to schedule your upgrade. Then I'll get the replacement ordered and get you on the schedule. As the 2G, 3G era comes to an end, I am trying to spread out our resources so I do not have a couple hundred accounts to try and get in on a short period of time. Your security will stop communication soon without the upgraded radio." So this is what the dealer sent to the customer. The customer then forwarded it to us, to a friend on staff, and said, "What the heck, $250 for a hardware upgrade? Bad customer experience here. Is this an industry-wide deal? What are your thoughts?" So this is an example of how destructive these cellular sunsets can be to your relationship with your customers. And so there's a couple lessons to take out of this. First, if you can avoid troubling your customer, buy a cellular sunset, you need to do that. And the best way to do that is to get a technology like BAT-Connect with Cat-M, which will allow you to avoid having to go back out when 4G LTE sunsets. The other thing is you don't want to put the cost burden on the customer just to replace a service that's already existing. That's why we always recommend, and you'll hear this in the sunset webinar that you can find on our website at Alula.com, that you really, when you're going out to replace that radio, if you have to replace the radio, it's really time to give them an upgrade to new video functionality, to Internet of Things functionality. And that by doing that, you're giving them so much more than they had in the past, and it doesn't feel like they're just paying for a one-to-one switch out of that cellular radio. So that's what BAT-Connect enables you to do. It really brings new functionality to their security system, and makes them feel as if they are getting an upgrade, which is worth their time and any money that unfortunately they may have to spend. So Dave, just circling back on that, this is stuff we hear in the field all the time. Maybe you talked about the crazy loop, but seems like that's a clear example of what not to do if you're a dealer out there.
That's a perfect example, and it's also a nice tee into the next slide if I recall the presentation properly, because this is one of the other tools that BAT-Connect gives you as you're facing the sunset, and that is the ability to support the Slimline Touchpad. We've talked about it on previous slides. We wanted to spend more time to really emphasize the power of that touchpad and the difference it can mean, whether it's a sunset or a new install. It gives you a tool to bring the best user experience and the best capabilities to your customer, and the possibility to even upsell them on new capabilities when you're visiting to deal with your sunset installation. So I think it's a great tee off to this slide. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to dive right in. Is that all right with you, Kevin?
Please do, Dave.
All right. So the Slimline Touchpad you see pictured on the left, our application on a smartphone and the touchpad, and you see the consistency in that user interface. We give a lot of capabilities, video on the Slimline, video on the app, the same controls for arming and disarming on both, the same feedback on sensors on both systems. If you're dealing with a sunset or if you're dealing with a new install, they probably have seen somebody else knock on their door or send them a brochure on a great 7-inch touchscreen that could be mounted, that could do automation, that can do all these different things. They're dealing with a system that's been installed for a while. You can bring them those same capabilities. This touchpad is a built-in power supply. If there's a keypad on the wall already, which there will be if you're dealing with a Honeywell Vista or a DSC Power Series or any of the panels that I had listed, you can pull one of those keypads off, mount it down near the panel so you always have a traditional, native OEM keypad there. Replace it with one of our touchscreens. You can add a touchscreen in a separate area of the home. You can even put one on the counter. Every one of our Slimlines comes with a table mount or wall mount capabilities. This will join BAT-Connect and allow you to control that panel, see all the zone status and information, see video, and control automation devices if you happen to have a Z-Wave card in your BAT-Connect, and upgrade that keypad and really give them a 2020 feel for something that might have been installed 10 years ago. And this could all be done while you're visiting them for a sunset. Oh, the cellular networks are changing. You probably know that because you're shopping for cell phones this holiday season. And by the way, we're going to upgrade your cellular communicator, but we're also going to add a second path of communications, which is broadband. And while I'm here, I'd like to interest you in a touchpad that will allow you to see the doorbell camera I can put on your front door and allow you to control the locks and allow you to lock your house before you go to bed at night. Would you be interested in that? It's $199. Now you can capture the money to pay for your visit to do the sunset. You can bring value to your customer. You can make sure that they get out of this crazy loop of the next sunset. And you're going to drive a consistent user interface. The same app in their pocket is what they're familiar to using on the wall of their home. This is the type of value proposition we deliver with BAT-Connect, and it's tools to give you. You might not decide to upsell, but it gives you tools to bring value and to demonstrate that you're there not only to protect them, but to be their technical advocate in this world of IoT. And we're trying to give you the tools to do that. So built-in power supply, it can reuse the wires that already exist. You just change the power supply on one end, hook it up to the terminal block in the power supply in the Slimline. You can add video, you can add automation, and you can replace that old yellowed keypad and really make that customer feel like they've moved into the next decade of connected home experience.
Yeah, it's really about, and I think you nailed it right there at the end, in terms of moving forward into the future of technology. We see, to the iPhone example earlier, year after year, people will line up to buy the new phone because it's got a better camera or it's got a nicer screen. Next year, people will be lining up so that they can get onto 5G. And really, this is what it's about for the security industry as well. You can't just swap out one for one. You got to add features. And if you look at what we're offering here with this Slimline Touchpad, that's the nicer screen. The Cat M, that is the next generation of cellular communication for the customer. And when we talk about a better camera, there's no camera better than the video doorbell. And when you pair that with the Slimline Touchpad, you really get a winning combo and a great customer experience. So, Dave, talk a little bit about how these two products, really bring customers a new level of satisfaction.
Yeah, I think everybody on the call realizes that video is a key driver nowadays in terms of bringing security and life safety services to your customers. And people like to see, they see value in that visual aspect of security. So our Slimline Touchpad will allow you to have live view, talk and listen, and view clips, captured motion detection clips from any of the cameras, but it's very nicely paired with the doorbell. You put a touchpad, this could be, again, in the bedroom, in the living area, as well as in the hallway. You can have up to 4 different touchpads that can be added to a BAT-Connect. Every one of them has the ability to not only be notified when somebody presses the doorbell. You're going to hear it ring. It gives you a notification right on the touchpad. You can click on that. It'll open up a live interaction with that doorbell, allow you to have a conversation with whoever's at the door, verify that there was a package delivered, and all of that can be done from inside the home. That same notification also goes to the app, so if you happen to not be home, you can open up the two-way connection and have a conversation there as well, or just verify, hey, there's a package delivered. I now know that that's there. This time of year, there's a lot of packages being put on doorsteps, and unfortunately, a number of them being taken away. We can help guard against that through our video offering, and it pairs very nicely with that touchscreen. And again, multiple touchscreens, multiple locations of the home, live talk and listen, clip view, anything you can do with video on our app, you're able to do through the touchpad as well. Very, very powerful combination, and something that drives satisfaction with the customers. It can be used as a close for a new install. It can be used as an upsell when you go visit for a sunset, or it can be used as a retention package for anybody that you think might be at risk that isn't using their system as often or getting as much satisfaction. This allows you to be competitive without having to rip all the equipment out of a home. You can just upgrade it to the latest and greatest technology.
Yeah, this is just so in demand from customers. They love this experience. I'm on some of these Facebook forums for various installers, and I see people all the time asking about how do I get this particular, some particular video doorbell to work with the Amazon touchscreen, or how do I get this other video doorbell to work with a Google touchscreen. This is the way to go. Is you get the doorbell and the Slimline Touchpad. They're perfectly integrated together because they come from the same company. It is what that enables is this user experience where when that doorbell is rung, the touchscreen already knows it. It sends you a message that says, would you like to enable the live video feed and the two-way talk? You just press one button and you're right there talking to the person at your front door, seeing who it is, getting the information you need before you open the door, before you have to get up from the couch, before you have to give someone access to your home. You already know who that's going to be. And so Dave mentioned the package theft and the porch pirates. We see stories about that all the time as we come into the Christmas season. That's a huge and important use for this. It's also great to be able to, at work, be able to open up your phone and look and see what's happening at your house and whether that package that you've been waiting for has been delivered in order to get it under the tree in time. But do not lose sight of the fact that this is also a very important part of a security system. You need to know who's on the other end of that door before you open it. That's the first line of defense. And this is a great way to protect your customer. So Dave, we've talked about the BAT-LTE, we've talked about the BAT-Connect. I just wanted to boil it down right here and really show the features comparison. When you add it up this way, it really is a no-brainer that you want to go with the BAT-Connect. So walk us through this chart.
Yeah, I'm going to start, Kevin, from the bottom up. I think we've talked about a lot of features and capabilities we're bringing, and You think, okay, companies, you're investing in bringing out new technology, you're adding extra paths of communication, you're bringing it to the latest and greatest cellular technology. This thing's going to cost more. I want to start at the bottom. We're offering this at the same price. They happen to be on promo right now, under $100, and you get all these capabilities. But we did not bring new features out and say, okay, now we're going to try and find a way to carve additional dollars out of your pocket. This is new technology. It's more investment, but we're trying to bring these capabilities and do it at the same price point. So what are you getting? You're getting everything you have with BAT-LTE plus triple path communication, plus the ability to add Wi-Fi not only for talking out, but to add touchpads. We have 5G ready radio using Cat M1 technology. We've also added the ability to have secondary carriers. If you've been with us for a while, you know that we've built our platform around the Verizon network. We still love Verizon. They have great coverage. There's some areas where AT&T is stronger, or there's areas we haven't been able to cover because we've been on Verizon. We now have AT&T that allows us to get up into Canada, into Mexico, into other parts of North America, and that expands capabilities for us and capabilities for you as our partners. And then we've improved the application. If you've put a BAT-LTE in, you loved it because it was a single product and you could get remote access, and we really touted this virtual keypad. It just looked like the keypad on your wall, and you could have that remotely. That's a great and powerful feature, and we're carrying that forward. But we also have a new enhanced user interface, and you've seen it on the slides previous. That is our new interactive app. It has a customizable dashboard, simple push, simple icon-based arming, full zone status information, and ability to get notifications on individual zones. These are some new features we're bringing out that I'm giving a sneak peek to. But all of these are capabilities that we can now enable through the BAT-Connect product. So it is our next generation product. It's your next generation product. It gives you everything you had, plus probably 2 more pages of new features and capabilities that aren't even on this chart, that are going to allow you to have a stronger business and a tighter relationship with your customers. And that's what we're about, and we're doing it all for the same price that you've been paying historically.
Yeah, David, you never see that in any industry, let alone this one. The idea that I could get a 2020 model car for the same price I would pay for a 2018 model car, or to get an iPhone 11 for the price you'd pay for an iPhone 8. It's unheard of, and it's unbelievable, but that's something that we're doing here at Alula because we really, really believe in this new product. We really think you guys need to adopt this product and start using it for your takeovers or for your new installs. It's really a piece of technology that I think carries the industry forward and will delight your customers. Dave, wrapping up, is there anything that you'd like to add about the BAT-Connect?
Well, the only thing, and I think you kind of alluded to it there, Kevin, is we're investing in this because I think you'll notice with the changes we've made in our app, with the changes we've made with our touchpad, with the enhancements we're making in BAT-Connect, we're really in a position to be your core interactive provider. And I think historically, Alula's been in a position of solving problems, and we do it quite well. It's the phone line replacement. It's a takeover situation. We still do those better than anybody else in the industry. But really, we've built our platform to allow you to build your business around us as your partner. We're your interactive partner. We can help you today, and we are here to help you grow your business and grow the capabilities of your interactive offering and allow you to compete in the IoT space. So that's why we're offering it at the same price. That's why we're making the investments and bringing these things forward, is to not only be the problem solver, but to be core. So with that, take a look at this offering, and it is your sunset solution. It is your takeover solution. But I believe it should be considered your solution, and we should be, at least in the discussion, to be your partner rolling forward. And that's the type of dialogue I hope we can have in the Q&A. And if we don't get to it in the Q&A, I hope we can have it. Just give us a call and say, here's what I'd like to see you as a company focused on the professional security industry to do rolling forward. We need that feedback. Even if you don't end up being our partner, I really appreciate that feedback. That's what drives our roadmap. So if we're missing the boat on something, let me know, and I'm going to see what we can do to help make that happen.
Thank you, Dave, for that expertise. And Dave spoke there about partnership, and that is really what we're about here at Alula. And part of that partnership is direct access to experts like Dave Main. We have a very interactive webinar here, which is why we take your questions, and we're delighted to answer them. So with that, we're going to get right to it. Dave, you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. Special thank you to those of you who went ahead and joined our Facebook group. We've got a nice influx of a good 7 or 8 of you joining our Facebook group. It's a wonderful place for Alula pros to talk to each other and answer each other's questions. I like to think of it as this webinar chat, but all the time. So whenever you're on the site and you need to answer a question, you've got your fellow pros there to help out, as well as, of course, Alula's thought leaders who are frequently in the comments. Dave, I see you in there all the time. Thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Well, we've got a full slate of questions. We've got almost 30 of them that I'm looking at right now. So we're going to roll through these, and I'm going to make sure we get to all of them. We're going to start out with Johan. Johan asks, is the BAT-LTE being depreciated? I'm
guessing maybe deprecated, maybe end of life is my guess on the question. So, you know, yes, what we're doing is the BAT-Connect is the next generation platform. We're still selling BAT-LTE. We're selling it side by side. We're activating them every day. You can go to your distributor and find them, and we're going to, you know, continue that until we can ensure that you know, our partners are moving forward, but what we're seeing is a migration to this next generation product. And I hope what you found is we're bringing everything you have with the BAT-LTE and more. We've filled a lot of the gaps and feedback from our partners saying, here's what I love BAT-LTE, but here's what I want to see happen. And as we do that, we're going to migrate all of our business and all of you over to the new platform. So would love to hear from you. It sounds like you've been working with us for some time. You know, take a look at the product and let's get your feedback. And over the course of the beginning half of 2020, I think we'll see the bulk of the business move over. And then as that happens, we'll migrate and just continue down the path of BAT-Connect being the platform we roll forward with.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Johan. It really gets to the heart of why we decided to do this webinar. We really just want to show you guys that BAT-Connect, there's really no reason to buy the BAT-LTE today. We've got the BAT-Connect. It is so much more, and it is all for the same price. So now's the time to go for the BAT-Connect. BAT-LTE is in the field. Keep them there. They're going to keep working. They're doing great product. But if you're going to the store today to buy one or the other, get the BAT-Connect. You really can't go wrong with that. So question comes in from Jay. Here's a fun one. We've got it once before. Dave, where does the name Alula come from?
This is a great question. I'm part of the process of when this happened. So the companies came together. We wanted to get a new brand, and we actually there was a guy hired by the investment firm that kind of backed the acquisition of the two organizations, and his name's Steve, and his title is the Namer, and he put forward a whole series of names based on what we were trying to drive. Alula is actually a word. It's part of a bird's wing. It enables flight and navigation, and we really viewed our company as trying to provide that navigation and flight and carrying the professional security industry forward. It also it stuck with everybody. When you look at a list of 300 names, you remembered it. And the fact that it's a palindrome, forward and backwards, it's the same thing. It's kind of cool, and Kevin and the whole marketing team can have a lot of fun with that. So it is a word, part of a bird's wing, and it kind of grew on us over time, and it was easy to remember. So that's the source of it.
That's right, Dave. Yeah, we're like Red Bull. We give you guys wings. So hopefully there's no trademark infringement on that one. Dave, we've got a series of questions specific to various panels, so let's roll through these. These are some great questions. Richard's asking, when is NX firmware going to be downloaded?
All right, so we'll have a couple of part of his question is, when is it going to be downloaded? So you can buy BAT-Connect today, and new features are added to it as you install them. The first thing it does is it checks in for updates. And even if it's already been installed, it'll check once a day to see if there's any new code there. So when the question is, when's it going to be downloaded, when is it going to be available, and that's what the latest thing that's loaded on to the BAT-Connect is. So with BAT-Connect, we have 2 releases coming, one in early January, one in late January. We will be adding the NX bus support in the late January release. And we'll be adding other panels over time as well. We'll get to those as the questions come up. One thing to keep in mind, though, for any panel that we don't support, we do have tip and ring on here, so we can do phone line connection and get all the alarm signals, and we do key switch arming with our early January release as well. So we'll be able to support IP-based and cellular-based alarm reporting and interactive security. You can still add automation and video even when we're doing key switch arming. So we basically have universal panel support whether we're on the bus or not. So just as a little clarification on that.
Great. Now we've got a couple questions coming in from Terry, both about DSC and Honeywell. So first question, do we have full virtual keypad for DSC and Honeywell currently?
The virtual keypad for DSC and Honeywell, virtual keypad is kind of how the app has worked on the BAT-LTE in the past. Early January we'll have that on the Honeywell panel, and late January on the DSC panel. Typically, we're still going to drive down the path of our interactive app as the primary user interface. The virtual keypad would be used in 2 conditions. Number one, if you want to do some programming of the panel, it's a nice way to do it, although as I noted in the webinar, there's a lot of things. If you're just changing user codes or zone names, do it on AlulaConnect. It's much easier, but it does work for that. The other reason would be for partition control. If you want to jump between partitions and arm or disarm, virtual keypad's good for that. So those are the kind of the use cases. Other than that, on bus-connected panels, the interactive app is going to be probably closest to what your core interactive offering, whether you do, whether you work with Honeywell Total Connect or, Alarm.com or any of the interactive providers. Our interactive interface is that, and in many cases more in terms of speed, performance, and flexibility on configuring your home screen. So I'd probably head down that path in most cases.
That's a good shout out there for AlulaConnect.com, and that gives me a chance to make sure you guys are all aware that AlulaConnect.com is our new installer portal, offers you so many capabilities that weren't present in AlarmDealer.com. We will be looking to sunset AlarmDealer.com sometime in 2020, so I want to get you guys ready to start migrating to check out AlulaConnect.com, give it a spin, see how it works, and we are always available to help you make that transition. But I think once you get in there, you'll see that there are so many new bells and whistles that will help you accelerate your business. All right, Dave, we're getting back to Terry's question on DSC and Honeywell. The question is downloader support available for those panels?
Yes, we have U-Downloader is what we have in our AlulaConnect platform, and we have support for both the Honeywell and DSC native downloaders. So have at it. It'll work for you today. You need on the DSC panel, you'll need the PC Link cable, and we have those available also.
Great. Shifting to another panel, Wanda asks, GE Concord availability update?
Oh, great question, Wanda. There's a lot of those questions coming in. We are part of the AIN group, which a lot of Interlogix dealers participate in. And with the sunset, unfortunately, of Interlogix as a company, there's people interested in what they can do to support those panels rolling forward. We will be bringing Concord out. That'll probably be towards the end of Q1. We're kind of going down the path of NX being next and virtual keypad per the previous questions. We'll follow that up with actually some of the NAPCO Gemini panels, both 3 and 4 wire bus, and then Concord. We're going to be doing those in parallel. They'll have a race to the finish towards the end of Q1 is what we're targeting, and all of these will be wrapped up at that point. And I know I just talked to Paul. That's his engineering goal. Paul Saldine runs our engineering group. We're pushing to make that happen, and we aren't going to sacrifice any quality, but we definitely have an urgency to get all these things wrapped up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, big shout out to all our AIN dealers, our friends at the AIN group who are on the webinar. We appreciate your partnership, and we hope you enjoyed your welcome packet along with some of our end-user-facing brochures. So there's more where that came from. We're looking forward to a wonderful relationship with you guys. All right, Daryl's got a question. Any support for ELK panels?
Yeah, no native bus support for ELK, but I'm quite certain the ELK panels will have a contact ID reporting mode. As long as it can report over contact ID, we can do alarm signal transport and then key switch, and ELK would definitely support that. So that'd be the path to ELK. You know, as we start to get additional demand for other panels, once we get the kind of the core offering, we'll definitely consider those, but nothing in the works as it relates to direct bus connection there.
Okay, we've got a couple questions about DSC panels. Getting specific, Charlie asks, is it compatible with DSC PC4020 Maxis?
Yeah, Charlie, the Maxis panel, if I recall, had a different bus architecture than the Power Series. We're on all the DSC Power Series, and I think that was in the Power Series family, but it had a couple of different quirkiness items on the bus. So my hunch is no, we don't have native support. I saw the question come in, and I was slacking notes to a couple of the engineers. We definitely haven't tested with it, so let's take that one offline. We definitely would have the key switch and contact ID reporting, bus support. Might have to work with you a little bit to make sure I understand any bus differences between a traditional Power Series panel and that one.
Yeah, Charlie, go ahead and send me an email at kevin.hoffman, Hoffman, at alula.com. I'll make sure we get that answer from our engineering group, and we have you covered. Steve also has a question about DSC panels. Dave, you just touched on Power Series, but what about Neo?
Yeah, at this point in time, we don't have anything native for Neo. We're in discussions. We know that DSC is making a big push in that direction. They don't have any direct affinity to any particular interactive provider. I'm hoping we'll be able to get there at some point, but nothing imminent as it relates to Neo, short of the key switch and tip and ring connection. But Power Series, we've got that one covered. So anything you have in the field or installing on that front, give us a go.
And here's another one from Steve. Will this work with Paradox panels?
Paradox. Wow, we have a diverse group here. So Paradox, it's actually pretty big, in Australia, and I know they've got some of that up in Canada. I'm guessing you're north of the border, Steve, because that's where we tend to run into that. Nothing today. I do know we have supported that in the company in the past, so we do know the bus. We don't have any current plans to pull that in, but I will take this question offline and do a little digging to see what it would take to pull that forward. Again, as we expand, that's a product that is much more prevalent internationally than in North America. Our focus is more in North America right now. We just don't bump into it as much, but I'll keep you posted on that one.
Thanks for the question, Steve. Stay warm up there in Canada, if that is indeed where you are. We got a question from Kevin. This is a pretty nice, interesting question. I haven't seen this one before, Dave. He says, is there an emulator that I can put on an iPad that looks and performs like the touchscreen?
Well, I think I might have something even better for you, Kevin. Our touchscreens have a demo mode. So our touchscreens are an Android tablet. It's not an iPad. It is running in an Android operating environment, and when you power one up, you can click the demo mode button instead of having it join, and as long as the battery's alive or you plug it in, you'll be able to kick around and do all the demos. The only thing you can't really demo yet is video. We have demo modes in our app on the phone as well as in the touchpad. We haven't pulled the video side of that in yet. There's some complications just in getting video clips loaded, but I hope to get that resolved shortly. But that'd be the answer. Short of that, nothing that could run in a native in an iPad. We'd have to get some sort of an emulator mode, so I'd suggest using the tablet itself.
Okay. Kevin's got another question. Is geofencing part of the basic interactive features?
Yeah, geofencing is, so first off, our preference in implementing anything, geofencing is all about are you near your house or not, and can you take actions based on it? We're more likely to do it based on joining the network as opposed to location tracking. Location tracking, number one, it can drain your battery. Number two, there's all kinds of privacy concerns. So we tend to build that around can you see the phone when it joins, when you're near your home or not? Because we're all IP-based, we know when that happens. We don't have anything built in to do that today. You will see that rolling out in our app here in 2020. Exactly when, it'll be the second half of 2020. I don't know exactly when. I'll keep you posted on it. But just so you know, it's more apt to be are you near the house as opposed to location tracking, although we could do it either way. That's just kind of where we're leaning right now.
Okay, and then Daryl's got a question. Any API or SDK compatibility for third-party automation systems to be able to control the Alula panel, arm, disarm, and zone status?
Yes, our platform has full published APIs. Talk to us and we can make those available. If you're talking about integrating with kind of system-wide home automation platforms, I'll say like a Savant or Control4. Most of those will do, local drivers, and they work with the equipment manufacturers to get integrations done. Nice thing is we're native on IP. We expose everything through our APIs, so you get full status and control. So the integrations we do are much tighter, but our APIs at the cloud level are available, and we encourage integration with partners.
Cool. Question from Christopher. I would rather have the keypad work on the main Wi-Fi than on Alula AP. Is it possible?
Good question, Christopher. Yes, it's possible. I'd like to, I'm going to, let's see. Joining our Wi-Fi does a couple of things. Number one, it keeps the devices off of the home network, which from a security standpoint and increasingly from broadband providers are giving tools that say, hey, here's all these devices that are on your network. Do you recognize them? And they can block devices and inadvertently shut things down. So we're definitely trying to provide tools that allow you to manage all of the devices in the Wi-Fi network as they join ours. So I think there's advantages on that front. The other advantage is without a truck roll, you can come in over the cellular link. If they change their router out, change their password, you can now have those devices rejoin, and you can manage it remotely over the cellular link. That being said, as long as BAT-Connect or Connect Plus, either one of our Connect family of products is on the local network, so plugged into Ethernet or joining the Wi-Fi to get onto that local network, you could have the touchpad join the building's network, and they will find each other over that network and be able to control each other. So yes, it is possible. Yes, we can do it. I'd recommend having it also enrolled to the BAT-Connect's Wi-Fi, because that's also battery backed. It's powered right off the bus, and so if you lose your power connection, you're going to be able to maintain an interface to control that panel even during an outage without having to have other UPSs on there. So let's have a conversation, but a much shorter way to answer it would be to say, yes, you can. But I like to babble, I guess.
Well, Dave, I think it's a very important cautionary note that you put in there about the dangers of the home Wi-Fi. We've all been seeing these stories, these really scary stories about Ring cameras that have been in the news lately. It's very, very important that you protect your customers from that kind of hacking, and that's why Alula has these additional security standards that we're able to put in place by joining the network to our own Wi-Fi. We'll talk about that more in a future webinar, but let's get back to the BAT-Connect. John is asking, will there be a dealer phone app to activate a BAT-Connect in the field without need for a laptop computer?
Good question, John. And, actually, that's one of the advantages of AlulaConnect. And Kevin was just promoting that earlier. That is our replacement for Alarm Dealer. It is designed to scale down to tablets or to phones. And so it gets, for programming a panel, configuring a system, making changes, it works very nicely on a phone. Probably setting up the account, you might want to do that on a laptop or before you leave. But going in and doing panel changes, you can do definitely off of that device.
Okay,
one
we've
other
got
thing
a couple.
we do.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we've got a couple long questions here, so you're going to have to hang with me. But please go ahead and finish your thought on John before I move on.
No, I was just going to, this is a BAT-Connect. I was going to go down Connect Plus. We have the installer app, but that's not applicable to BAT-Connect. We do have an app that you can work directly to program our Connect Plus panel, and that connects over a Bluetooth link. But that's because BAT-Connect is connecting to another system. It doesn't isn't as applicable. It's more the AlulaConnect offering. So.
Okay, so here's the first of the two long questions. This one comes from Patank Mady. Not sure if that's Frank or Patank. Please correct me if I got it wrong. And he asks, at the start you said we were moving to installing to the high-end residential customers and commercial. I'm in Ohio. Shout out to the Buckeye State. And installing them, but the problem I have is the rating on the RE622, RE601, and RE106 tilt sensors in motion. I have a few customers that have outside buildings storing their show cars or boats, and the sensor ratings are 32 degrees to 120 degrees. If you want to go more into the commercial aspect, you may need sensors that go below 32 degrees to eliminate false alarms. I have a restaurant with outside storage buildings with no heat. Alula needs commercial rated sensors for the cold weather states like Ohio. This is just an FYI for you. We're up here in Minnesota. Dave, what can we do for our cold weather friends?
Yeah, we know cold up here. So a couple of things. First off, we have a product that's relatively new. It'd be the RE607 or 107. It looks like you might be Interlogic's dealer as well. So those are two different frequencies. But it is an outdoor door window sensor, and it's built with either a flush mount or a partially round mount, so it can be on a pole. Full industrial temp grade for outdoor installations and industrial housings. Doesn't give you the tilt directly, although it could be wired in. It's got external contacts. You could wire it into another tilt switch. We also have an outdoor motion detector, and I want to say it's the RE653, but I apologize. I'll circle back. On our website, you can find we have an outdoor motion, and this is less than, it's not a real motion. It's more of almost a beam detector. It goes very narrow. It's built for patio door or, kind of along walls or fences. It creates more of a motion fence, and it's actually two detectors. It's in partnership with Optex. A very powerful device that you could use outside as well. And so we do have a couple of solutions. Agree with you. It's a common problem, and hopefully these products address the need.
Great. Enjoy that college football in Ohio there, Patank. We got a question here from Jim Brum. One of my favorite subject matters, Cat M1, which I personally feel is the future of cellular communication for the security industry. Jim, I shared Paul's white paper on this, but I want to give Dave a chance to tee off on this as well because it's a very important subject matter. So Jim is asking, my understanding is that Cat M1 is an LTE technology and that LTE is not compatible with the new 5G network. Can you point me to sources that can better explain and confirm your claim that Cat M1 is something more than a slow speed, low power LTE connection? I'm going to point you right back to the source that is Dave Main. Dave, why don't we talk a little bit about why Cat M1 is a superior technology?
All right, so Jim, you know your cellular networks. That's good, and you're absolutely right. So for those that don't know, 5G networks is at a higher frequency than 4G, and in the RF world, the higher the frequency, generally, always, it's the law of physics, the shorter the range. So as you move to 5G, you end up with smaller cell towers. They basically scatter more of them around a neighborhood. So it's really tend to build for urban areas and urban deployments. It's actually at a different frequency, and normally when a cell carrier deploys a new technology, they deploy the new technology at a different frequency. They free up that old frequency for other uses, so they use that RF spectrum in different ways. All that being said as background, 5G is great for metro areas. It's not good for rural. As a result, LTE as a network is going to largely stay around for a long time, and they're going to leave these towers in place. And what they do is the category M that we're using does operate on the LTE networks that have been deployed for years and that we use for all of our LTE communications. They've allocated a smaller chunk of it to exist for low bandwidth applications. That's what category M is. It's lower power, so when we join our bus, we aren't draining as much power off of the bus of the panel. And as you reduce the bandwidth, you can increase range from the towers. So we actually get better range and performance than you would in traditional LTE. We operate in the LTE world. And then as the cell carriers move to 5G, they've said we're going to leave this bandwidth available, not all of the LTE bandwidth, but a little bit of it available to use for this Category M and a couple of other lower bandwidth applications. That's the world we live in. And it will always exist because they need it for rural areas, but what they also want to do is provide a very low power and longer range device for applications, not only like security, but meter reading and other applications. And Paul's white paper that you referenced, and I encourage everybody to read it, we'll kind of walk through that. But the 5G consortium, which is across all carriers, has defined Category M as their low bandwidth technology that will carry into the 5G world living in the LTE towers. So hopefully that helps address it, Jim. A great question and good observation, and I'm glad you gave us the opportunity to clarify.
Thanks, Jim. We hope you enjoyed that white paper that I sent you. If anybody else wants a copy, just send an email to kevin.hoffman@alula.net, and I will get that over to you right after this webinar. Question from Steve. Do we need to configure the client's routers for port forwarding on the Ethernet side, or is it just auto-configure?
It's auto-configure, and you'll run into rare instances, mostly in commercial worlds, where they might have some blocking of some of the outbound traffic from unknown devices. That tends to be in commercial applications. Residentially, you plug and go. You're ready to roll.
Great. Sam asks, is BAT-Connect compatible with AT&T and Verizon?
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if this question came in, we did have a slide on that. This is the first time that Alula has entered into the AT&T world, so we have both carriers available, and if you are living north of the border or outside of the core 48 here, actually any of the 50 I think, you'd run with the AT&T model. Otherwise you have an option for either one of them inside the core US market.
Okay. Randy asks, does the Slimline Touchpad support video on both Connect Plus and BAT-Connect?
It does. Great question. It'll support it on either of the platforms, and again, it is an Android tablet. Look for some exciting new features to be coming on that device here shortly as well. So I'll just give that as a teaser for one of our upcoming webinars, but I think before you get too far through the winter months, you're going to have some new capabilities that we take advantage of on that Android tablet. And you'll be able to bring those not only to Connect Plus world, but to any of the existing panels that you have deployed out there that we're compatible with.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I've seen the demo that Dave's referring to, and it is a very cool new capability. So really excited to have that in my own home. Really excited to hear what you guys feel about it when you get into client zones. And that'll be automatically pushed. You won't have to do a thing to get it. That firmware will automatically update. So the ones you already have in the field are going to get those new capabilities without you guys having to roll a truck or visit that customer. So look for it soon. Rodney asking, does the touchpad charge, and is it capable of being removed from the power source?
Good question. So yes, it does charge. It has a battery built in, and it will operate if there is a loss of power. It's not really designed to be removed and carried around as a tablet. But if there is a power loss, it will continue to operate during that power outage, and it does fully charge. Our power supply will charge up the battery every time it needs to.
Okay. Kevin asks, can traditional CCTV cameras wired be viewed on the touchscreen? Is the Wi-Fi camera evidentiary?
Oh, wow. I get a vocabulary test on this one, too. We have a line of 4 cameras. We only support on our video services platform the 4 cameras. The Wi-Fi isn't required. We do have 2 models of cameras that have Ethernet ports on them. We were specifically talking about the doorbell. I'm unaware of any doorbells that have an Ethernet connection on it. There's a lot of size and other constraints on those. So those are Wi-Fi, but we do have an indoor and an outdoor that you can pull wires to, and we would support both of those as well. So, but not just traditional CCTV cameras at this time. But again, it's our own video services platform, so we will continue to expand capabilities over the course of the next few months, quarters, and years.
Okay, and I inadvertently skipped this question from Kirk, so let's just circle back and ask, does the RE657B touchpad work with the BAT-Connect yet?
RE657B, that happens to be, it's a black touchpad. So our RE657s, we talked about the Slimline in the webinar. We have another touchpad called our flat mount, which is basically just a flush wall mount device. Our RE657 line is migrating over to that. That is called the RE657WF, which for flat, and you can get that with or without a radio for Connect Plus. And then we have the Slimline in both black and white, which is an RE667W or RE667B. So the model reference is being replaced either with the flat mount or the Slimline, and we do have black and white available in the Slimline variety.
Okay, we've got a couple questions about how the doorbell works with the touchpad. Austin first says, it was said that you can turn on two-way communication for phone use when the customer is not home. Does that mean that they have the ability to turn off the application when they are in their home?
So you can answer, if somebody rings the doorbell, you can either use your app or the touchpad to answer it, whether you're at home or not. So I guess you can only have a single connection. It'll either be from your app or it'll be from the touchpad. You can't do both, but you could do either one of them from home. So if you happen to be on the couch and the touchpad's in the hallway, you can open up your two-way voice session from the app. If it's next to your bed, you open it up from the touchpad. So either one of those works. If I didn't answer the question, follow up and let me know.
Yeah, and when someone rings the doorbell, the touchpad will actually cue you. It'll give you a message and ask you if you want to open up two-way voice. So you have the option to do that or not do it at your own discretion. It really does give you the control there. Question in from Steve, how do the notification services work on the doorbell? Some video doorbells need the app to be open all the time on Android devices to work.
Yeah, that's annoying if you have to keep the app open all the time. We don't require that. You don't have to have the app open. We will continue to provide notifications. However, if somebody doesn't use their app for 28 days in a row, then we will turn off the notifications until they open the app again. So basically, if anybody's using it regularly, they'll get it. It does not have to be open or in memory. It will still provide notifications. If they don't do anything in the app for a month, then we will block that until they open it up again.
Okay. James asking about, is the RE657WR the same as your Slimline touchpad?
Similar to the last question, it's actually RE667W-R would be the white Slimline model versus the one that was referenced.
Got it. So that's the scoop for you there, James. Jim asks, are you able to download panels via the BAT-Connect currently? I didn't think it was available, but sounded like it based on what Dave was saying.
It is available, Jim, on Honeywell and DSC. The U downloader is released and ready to roll on those.
Okay. David asks, when attempting to use the virtual keypad on several of our DSC 1832 installations, I get panel not supported. We have BAT-LTEs on a number of 1832 installations, and the virtual keypad works fine.
Yeah, virtual keypad support for DSC is not yet released on the BAT-Connect. I talked about the 2 January releases. That will be coming in January. We'll have the virtual keypad support. Depending on what you're using the virtual keypad for, most people use it, when I talk to them, it's I want to do programming or something along those lines. We do have an ability to change user codes, to change zone names, and do all of that through AlulaConnect. So you won't need virtual keypad for that. As in terms of arming and general user interface, we found that most consumers and partners that we have prefer the more simple single push button arming capabilities of our native app. but we will have virtual keypad support here in January.
Paul's coming to us from the Caribbean, where it is much warmer than I am currently. Can your devices work in the Caribbean where we have Flow and Digicel networks?
Yeah, great question, and I will have to come down and help you on your first install here if you do it quickly. We do, as we sit today, I don't have an agreement for AT&T to go into the Caribbean. We're looking to add that in. We do have all of North America covered, but it does not extend into the Caribbean at this point in time. Look for that to change shortly. We'll keep you posted there, Paul.
All righty. Bruce asks, can lines of programming on the board be performed on DSC panels?
Can lines of programming? I'm assuming he's looking for, this is almost virtual keypad, probably shortcut, command line programming. And again, as noted earlier, if that's what the question is, today we can do downloader support and we can do user codes on AlulaConnect. In terms of keypad programming, you can leave the keypad on, obviously, and do it locally, and we will be adding virtual keypad support here in January. So I think that's what is being asked, but if not, let me know. We'll follow up.
Great. Jim asks, partition support?
Yeah, again, it kind of comes down to virtual keypad. Virtual keypad is, well, first off, we do partition alarm signaling across the board. So we can use either override the account number with our platform account number or take it out of the panel. So we can do alarm signaling for partitions. In terms of partition controls, it's not native in the app. However, virtual keypad allows you to control and jump between partitions in keypad mode, and so look for that to come here in January. And then we'll have enhancements to more native app control and platform control of partitions rolling forward. So full alarm signaling, soon keypad control, and then in 2020 enhanced partition control is kind of the rollout of that.
And then we've got Bruce, DSC. How many users can be accommodated on a system, on a DSC system?
Yeah, users, it's largely limited by the panel. And my only hesitation on that is I think in AlulaConnect we might have, something tells me we have a limit of 96 entry locations, but most panels are sitting, somewhere, less than 50 users. We can support all 50 of those. And typically it's just limited by the panel. There might be I'll check on if AlulaConnect pops it off at 96 or something like that. I think something sticks in my head that's the case.
Well, we're speeding to our conclusion here. We just have a few more questions. We may not get to all of them today because there's just a lot of questions in here. So you can always reach out to us at 1-888-88-ALULA. But Dave, let's try to get as many done as we can. David asks, how do you panel program via remote PC using DLS software?
So it's called uDownloader. It's part of AlulaConnect. Log into AlulaConnect, and you can get to uDownloader. It basically takes the native app, and it runs it all over an IP connection. So call in tech support if you need additional help on that, but that's the process.
Richard says, having to install a separate power supply for each keypad is a pain. How about a central power supply for all keypads using existing wiring?
Yeah, it's a great point. We do provide a power supply. If everything's coming down to a central location, I'm sure we could get an Ultronic supply or something like that everything could be powered off of. Let's take that one offline. I understand the concerns. One of the challenges we have is, again, trying to ultimately these tablets operate at 5 volts, and we've got to make sure we get enough power to handle the battery charge. So we can work with specs on you, and I'm sure we can find a power supply that could centralize all of that for you. Nothing we make directly, but we could help you out.
Ashi Hashimoto asks, is this video available for my coworker to watch at a later time? I can take this one, Dave. This will be posted on alula.com/webinars. While you're there, you can take a spin through our new website. We'll have an entire webinar devoted to this and some other really cool new materials that we have available for our partners. So Alula.com webinars, that's your home to get this webinar and previous webinars. Should have that up for you by tomorrow. Moving on, Michael says, will Connect interface with DSC PC 1864 just through the keypad bus for my 32-zone system?
Yes, that one, that's just standard power series. Yeah, we should be good to go on that one.
You're good to go, Michael. John, he says, will the BAT-Connect remote app allow a customer to control 2 partitions?
Yeah, we talked about partitions just a minute ago. With virtual keypad, definitely you can control it through the app itself. Natively, it doesn't control the 2 of them, but we definitely give you a path to do that.
Okay. Christopher asks, does the BAT-Connect still need the TR? I really do need it for fire monitoring, and I don't like to lose it.
BAT-Connect has tip and ring on it, so we're good to go on that front. And then stay tuned if you're into fire for some additional news in 2020.
Yeah, look for a really cool announcement in that front on Q1. So join our Facebook group. We may give you a sneak preview there. Richard, he asks, when is support for Control 4 automation going to be available?
Yeah, good question. Realistically, it's probably going to be end of Q1 or into Q2 before we start to get to the automation interfaces. Control 4, Savant, Elan, all of those require some development work. We'll get to it. I'd love to have it sooner. I just think we're going to be pretty swamped here for the next couple months.
Yep, we've heard you guys talking about Control 4. We're looking to do it. So stay tuned. We've got Christopher asking, do you have notifications related to Z-Wave thermostats, like temperature below 50 degrees Fahrenheit?
We do. So we have a whole automation interface, and we can trigger scenes based on a lot of different things, including temperature. And I'd also have you look at our RE618 product, which is a leak detection, high temp, low temp, and current temp. We have people using it in everything from computer server rooms that they want to be notified if temp gets above a certain amount, and we can trigger scenes on all of those activities.
Paul asks, does your BAT-Connect work with the HI-bus, HAI bus?
HAI, yeah, no, we don't currently support that one, but again, we can at least do some alarm signaling and arming control, and I know those guys pretty well, and I bet they'd cooperate with us if we get some cycles to do that at some point.
Okay. Daryl asks, what is the wireless range for your devices? Door contacts, motions, etc. What's the max distance from the panel?
Good question, Daryl, and a difficult one to answer because there's too many variables. I will say we are, the whole group here is focused on RF performance. We do range testing. If you're using our Connect Plus panel, we've optimized the receiver on that, and we've optimized all of our transmitters to get multiple thousands of foot range, typical open air. If you're dealing with the BAT-Connect going to somebody else's panel, we don't have as much control over the receiver side, so it'll vary depending on the panel and construction of the home. But generally, we're going to have maximum output power and optimized antenna performance on any sensor we make. And then when we're in control of the receiver, we keep all the antennas away from electronics so that we can get 2, 3, 4 times the range of other panels in the marketplace. So trust that it's going to be equal or better in all cases than what you're accustomed to.
Okay, we've got a question from Asai Kanti. I know I messed up your name in a previous webinar. Please give me a reminder of how to pronounce that in the chat box. I'll make sure I get it right next time. Asai asks, if I'm taking over a customer BA system with a BAT-Connect Plus, can I integrate video cameras from a third-party NVR to the Alula platform?
Yeah, no easy way to get the NVR to our platform today. And provide some details on it. We can come up with a path. But generally, I think that would end up being a separate software package for the NVR, not totally integrated into the app, unfortunately.
Okay, just 4 questions left, and we're putting the lid on it. We got the last one in from Joe Marquis, so we'll get you. But then after that, hit us up at 1-888-88-ALULA or tune into our next webinar next month. So Christopher asks, any plans for continuous video recordings?
Yes. We do have plans, and some of it we have our own platform, and we're doing some partnerships with a variety of platforms that are pretty prevalent out in the marketplace. So look for that to come, and we'll see some of that roll in the second half of 2020.
And Damien asks, I have only seen pics of Slimline on the desk stand or in hand. Can it be wall mounted as well?
Yes, every system comes with wall mount or desk mount, and it actually floats off the wall. It looks really cool. I know we have some good pictures that Bob or Kevin took. We'll shoot them over to you. It looks fantastic. It really looks high tech.
Yeah, it looks like the Star Trek Enterprise, Damien. So hit me up at kevin.hoffman@alula.net. I'm going to get you some of those pictures. Todd McClure asks, can you email invitations to users for the app setup through the app?
No, we can't do email out of the app. Interesting idea. That's something I'll take back. There's no capability of that today, but I like the thought. There's also a lot of questions on kind of marketing out to your customer base. These are all things we're kind of looking to build into the platform. So nothing today, but stay tuned. Okay,
last question comes to us from Joe Mark. Do you have any repeaters for the wireless on Connect Plus?
We do. I just bragged about all the wireless performance, and we don't sell many of them, thankfully, because our range is good, but we do have, I'm pretty sure it's an RE620, but again, check the website. We do have a repeater if you need it.
Awesome. That'll have to wrap us up for today. Dave, thank you so much for taking the time to answer all of those questions. You answered more than 50 questions this time around, so take a well-needed drink of water.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for attending, and look forward to the next one.
Yep, we'll see you guys after the holidays in January. Thanks again.
That does conclude today's conference. Thank you all for your participation. You may now disconnect.